everyone. Let's start with the next topic of basic computer organization. As we all know that before computers we have other calculating devices are there. So how we have come from calculator to computer and nowadays we are using smartphones. What are the transition from one device to another device that we are going to do? First, if we see the transition from calculator to computer, if we see the screen size of calculator is very small, whereas the screen size of computer, it comes in variation. You can have any particular measurement of computer screens, whatever you want. Next is graphics. Calculator not at all support any kind of graphics, whereas computers support all type of graphics of all resolution whatsoever it is. Next is colors. Calculator support only monochromatic, that is black and white, whereas computer support multiple colors. Other devices means if you want to attach any kind of other device like keyboard, mouse, you cannot attach it with calculator, whereas with computers you can attach as many number of input output devices that you can do. Next is connectivity. Connectivity means you can have all kinds of connectivity, whether you want to attach hard disk, whether you want to attach any other thing, any other printers or scanner that you can attach, but that you cannot do with the calculator. Support means all kind of support it is getting, whether you want to connect it with internet, whether you want to connect it with any other type of network like LAN, MAN, that also you can do. Functions means computer have many functions, like what kind of functions. If you see, calculator can only do addition, multiplication, or even if you can have the scientific calculations, whereas computer can perform different kind of operations which calculator cannot. Integrated software means in calculator you have only the calculation sort of software, whereas in computer you can have Word, you have Excel where you can calculate, as well as you can have charts. So different kind of softwares are integrated in computer, whereas in calculator you don't have those options. Software upgrade, you can upgrade the software of the computer, but there is no upgradation in calculators. Ability to share or exchange, you are able to share your data. If you want to share through internet, you can share your data in computer. Even if you want to exchange, your data, you want to just transfer your data from one device to another device, that also you can do, but in calculator there is no such option. Next is programmability. Programmability means calculator is programmed only for calculations, whereas computer can be programmed for different kind of purposes. You can create as many softwares you want to create. Next is support multiple programs. Multiple program means you can have date and time in computer, you can have internet, so many other kind of programs you can have in computer, whereas in calculator you have only the calculations. Next is processing power. Processing power, if you see, it's just in megabytes in calculator, whereas in computer it is in terabytes. RAM, again the difference you will find. Even in storage you will find the same difference, that it has very less storage and very less RAM, that is in MBs, whereas in computers we have data, we can store data up to terabytes. Next is power. Computer needs electricity, it consumes a lot of electricity, whereas calculator can be operated throughout the day on batteries. Now next, if you see how computers, now this is difference from calculator to computer. Now this transition is from computer to the smart devices. First, again it comes size. Computer may be on table, or you can say even if it is a microcomputer, then also it could be fit into a small kind of place, whereas smart devices, your smart phone can come into your palm. Power, computers works on electricity, whereas these electronic devices, these smartphones, you need to charge it with the help of electricity, then throughout the day, depending upon your consumption, you can use it. Portability, computers you cannot carry from one place to another place. Even if it is a laptop, you may get tired by holding that bag throughout the day on your shoulders, whereas smart devices you can simply keep it in your pocket, and even you cannot leave your smartphone anywhere else. Versatility means computer can perform various functions, but Smartphone even replace computers by the variety of functions it can perform. Input-output devices in computer, you have input-output devices like mouse, keyboard, scanner, whereas in smart devices, most of the smart devices are based on your touch. Storage, again, I think so capability of storing, that depends upon, in computers you can even have other devices attached with the help of which you can store more amount of data, whereas in smart devices storage capacity is very less as compared to computers. Connectivity, for connectivity computers you need to attach modem, that would be maybe external or internal, but in smart devices each and everything is just integrated inside the device only, with the help of which they are able to run the internet. Now next is evolution of computers, how computers evolved when it has been started, when we started working on the computers. Let's come to the first generation of the computer, which was developed in the year of 1940 until 1956 we were using it. Earlier also, maybe in your smaller classes you might have read about these different kind of generation of computers. So we will just revise it. First generation computers were very big, that much big that they could occupy a whole room. One computer is of that much large size that it occupies maybe your whole room of your home, any particular room. Okay, why they occupy a whole room? The reason is they are using vacuum tubes which were very large in size, because of which they need that much space to be adjusted over it. Now another feature, if we will see, that they are very big, very clumsy. Even on electric failure, they are not sure whether the amount of data which they have saved that could remain over there. So that was the actually disadvantages of the first generation computers, that we are not very much sure, means regularly they need electric power to get operated. Then even large air conditions were required. Without AC, computer cannot operate, specifically these first generation computers. Then we have storage power, storage capacity was also not that much in these first generation computers. And last is, it is programming in machine language, which is very hard to understand. Now if we see, in first generation computers only very large space is required, lot of electricity consumption is required, and then they generate a lot of heat, because of which ACs were required to be installed in that particular room. And then we have slow operating speed, restricted computing capacity, programming capacity was also very limited in the first generation of computers. So student, these are the vacuum tubes. You can see how large it is, and for that type of computers they need to install many vacuum tubes. It's not like that only, and it's not like that these kind of vacuum tubes, several vacuum tubes were required. So you can see its size, how large it was, and so many vacuum tubes attached, because of which computer size was very big in the first generation computers. Now if we see their memory type, that was memory was stored on the magnetic drums at that time, and different kind of computers which we were using in first generation, that is ENIAC, EDVAC, and then we have UNIVAC. These are the different kind of computers which we were using in first generation computer. Now till 1956 we used. In 1956 second generation computers have come. What changes have come when we have started with, instead of vacuum tubes we have now transistors. These were the main changes. Now how your transistor looks, I'll show you. This is transistor, how it looks like. So now you can see that how its space requirement has been changed with the evolution of transistors in computers. Now as compared to the first generation computer, they require less space. Vacuum tubes have replaced the transistors. Now transistor replaced the vacuum tubes. So now we have less space where we can keep our computers. Then they generated again they still generating a lot of heat, but less as compared to the first generation computers. Electricity consumption has also been reduced, and they are more reliable and more faster as compared to the first generation computer. Their programming, which was in machine language, as well as It was in machine language because of first generation computer, and also it was available in the assembly language, which was little bit easy than the machine language. So we can still say that these type of computers are not for general purpose, not for use in general. Still we need more advancement in the generations of the computer, which could make it easy for a common people to operate it. Machines were very costly also. Even in first generation and second generation, machines were very costly. It could not be affordable by a common man, and frequent maintenance is required. That is also one of the factors that people could not afford to use the computer. Now next come to the third generation computer, which started in the year 1964 till 1971. Here they have started using, which you all have heard as well as you all have seen, that is integrated circuits, which in short form I hope you all have heard, that is ICs. Now they are again very small in size. Let me show you integrated circuits. These are integrated circuit. Now you can see how small it is in size. That's why the size of the computer also has been reduced because of these integrated. Because of ICs, the size of the computer reduced comparatively to second generation and first generation computers. And then you can see these integrated circuits replace the transistors, and computer becomes smaller, faster and more reliable for use. Low power consumption, high level languages has been developed which could understand the compiler and interpreter, which I have discussed in my previous video. And even the size of the memories has been increased with the help of these different kind of technology. From 4 megabytes to 100 megabytes people are able to store in third generation computers. So we can say that their reliability has been improved in third generation, a little bit cheap as compared to the second generation, and human labor which was required earlier, they all have assembled those kind of programs in third generation, which reduce the use of labors in common things. Now next come to the fourth generation computer, which started using in 1971 until now we are using. These are using microprocessors. Now the thing which is very much required in computers, because of which we have very less size, like we have our laptops and even tablets, which are very reduced in size because of microprocessor. Let me show how microprocessor looks. These are microprocessors, how circuits are integrated on these microprocessors. You can see that. That's the reason that we have so compact size of computers available nowadays. Very large integrated circuits are applied on these microprocessors, with the help of which computer size has been reduced. Portable computers are developed with the help of which we are able to carry from one place to another place. Data communication means whatever the communication we are able to do, that is only possible because of these microprocessor, internet or other kind of network which is possible today, that is only because of microprocessors. Then different type of secondary devices we are able to use, secondary memory devices which we are able to attach with the computer, that is also possible. Even now we are able to have high level languages, that is 4GL. So we can say that computer cost came down, very down. Nowadays it is available everywhere, whether it is any office or whether it is at home. Small in size, very faster, very reliable, speed is very fast, high storage capacity. Even personal software industries are developing so that they can use for their different kind of purposes. Input output devices are still required. Major kind of computers which we have nowadays, that is Pentium, dual core, quad core, which is available, PowerPC. Many are there, Macintosh, IBM, long list of fourth generation computers are available in the market which we are using. Next is fifth generation computer, which presently also we have started using it. You all have the example of Google Hub, which just working on your voice recognition, Alexa. These all are the different devices which started using this artificial intelligence, that we are expecting that it is going to be the future of the any future of the world where everybody is going to use robots for their, even for their domestic health, even for their business health, for everything people are going to use AI. AI stands for artificial intelligence. And what difference they are going to bring, I don't know what kind of technology they will use. Still they are using microprocessors only. Only the thing is they are trying to give it artificial intelligence so that they can also react the way we are reacting, the way computer depend on us for the working of the computer. They should able to take decisions by their own, which you have seen, I think so, in many movies, like in Robot series which we have, even what they are trying to do, they are trying to have the parallel processing. Many processors should be grouped together and they are able to work together so that they can do multiple tasks. Now also they are doing, but they want to integrate more than 2 processors so that they can make your work more faster. Superconductors also they are using, in which electricity can pass without any resistance. There should be no resistance. Faster transfer of information between the components of a computer. Intelligent system should be developed so that there should be no requirement of human for giving instruction. Missiles they are developing, which is based on AI. And even many type of speech recognition devices are coming nowadays in a market. And even program should be translated from one language to another language. Just you need to show the lens of the camera and they are able to translate the language which is written over there. Different kind of input output devices which we have studied in the beginning of this topic, and all those devices nowadays in for the larger capacity of the storage which we have. Input output devices, many robots and robotic devices type of computer which we are using, and in future their scope will be increased. Now let's start with the troubleshooting operation. Troubleshooting operation means when you are working on the computers, you might encounter with different kinds of problem, and for small problems you get dependent upon maybe hardware professionals or someone else, right? So how you can, as you are using computers, you are working on the computers, you should know how to tackle these small kind of problems, which is not very big, which you can easily handle. How you can do that? General tips I am telling you. First of all, you should check your cables, whether all the cables are attached properly or not. First and foremost thing, if anything is not working, if mouse is not working or keyboard is not working, just check the cables whether it is connected or not properly. And second thing is isolate the problem. Isolating means if keyboard is not working, just check the wire of the keyboard or replace the keyboard. If mouse is not working, cursor is not appearing on the screen, then replace your mouse or check the wire of the mouse. Restart your computer. Sometimes if it happens, just restart your device, your system will work smoothly. Take notes means whatever the error is coming, if you will observe whatever the error is coming, always it comes with some message and some number. Note down that number, note down that error message, so that next time when that same error comes, you are able to follow the steps which you have taken previously. Or ask any professional, he can help you and tell you if this type of error comes, how you can recover those errors. So note it down somewhere so that next time when it comes, you are able to manage it. Now troubleshooting technique in computers, if what other kind of problems can occur, how you are able to deal with it. First is how you will understand that your computer is having some problem, that is program start running slow. Program is running, everything is working smoothly, but it's very slow. It is taking a lot of time to type. You are typing A and after 10-20 seconds that letter is appearing on the screen. Program is completely unresponsive. You are trying to type, your mouse is not working, nothing happens, and on the top along the software name you are getting not responding. So it becomes totally unresponsive. Next is program itself start or shutting down. By itself it is switching on, and by itself it while working it automatically gets shut down. In this you will get 3 type of message. Without pressing the restart button, your computer gets restart, or maybe when you are working your hard disk gets failure and error of hard disk appears, And shut down, whenever you shut down, it gives you the message, are you sure to shut down, or some message comes which shows that you are going to close your computer. No message comes and suddenly it becomes shut down. Next is computers begins rebooting. You are not starting it, you did not press the restart button, again and again booting process starts. Problem with the monitor, maybe some problem in the monitor, that particular monitor is not displaying the pictures graphics properly. No sound or no speaker, like speaker is attached but sound is not coming, or even if sound is not coming and control panel is not showing, speakers are attached or not attached to the computer. There may be many difficult problems which you cannot able to handle by yourself. It's better to call the professionals for these type of mistakes.